Warning, this video is intended for adult collectors. It contains plastic collectibles, questionable opinions, and the guy that won't leave Scott McNeil alone. You have been warned. This is Random Review.
Before we begin, I think I should give everyone a fair warning about what you're going to see in some videos here and there. So if you see me in this shirt, in this setup, with this terrible lighting on my face, then expect these to just be like a set of backlog reviews that I'm just kind of standing. I'm here recording a whole bunch at once just to squirrel away for a later date, so no Patreon shoutouts or anything. I want it to be a little bit more evergreen than that. Just stuff that I could drop in as I need to, because, you know, just in case I've got some days where I just not up to a full video, here's a back stock. So that's what today is. It's the first of a back stock of videos just to put away for whenever, and today it's just going to be a whole bunch of reviews. So I'm starting with Earthspark Elita-One, the warrior class Elita-One. The one warrior class toy I was really looking forward to because I really like Elita-One's character, and what I saw of the early looks of this toy looked pretty good. So I'm actually kind of interested in seeing what the toy is all about. Now, keep in mind, it's warrior class, so we're not going to expect greatness. This thing is not going to be a revolutionary toy by any stretch of the imagination. It's just going to be an Elita-One. So we're going to find out what comes with that, because I've seen good photos of it. You'll see. You'll see. So, for starters, Elita is in her brand new vehicle mode, which is something of a off-road SUV? Something of that nature. It is a lot heavier than your standard soccer mom vehicle. You see, like, the large rear tires and the smaller front ones give it much more rugged off-road feel, as well as a lot of the more heavily machined details going across things like, you know, the big squared angles on the rear fenders here, and the heavier look to the front end section. So she's got a lot going for her that definitely is not a typical vehicle, but it's hard to peg down exactly what it's supposed to be. So we're just gonna go with this. It's some kind of armored truck vehicle of some kind. Regardless, it's a pretty beefy vehicle for a female Transformer, which, you know, I always support. Still want to see Strong Arm come back. But for now, Elita-One is filling that slot. I like the overall shape, and I like the overall look of the vehicle, but because it's warrior class, it is lacking in a lot of important areas. For instance, yeah, the windshield is painted in silver, but I don't like the idea that that front piece of armor on the top, that kind of like this scoop here on the front, I don't like that that's in the exact same shade of silver. It's a little bit confusing what, you know, like if that silver is supposed to represent the window, why is it also on the hood of the car? I could have done without it personally. Even in the robot mode, I think I could have done without it. If it meant painting the side windows, yeah. See, this is where a toy looks cheap. I don't think a toy looks cheap because the windows are painted. I think a toy looks cheap because the windows are not painted at all. You know, I would have rather had that than, say, a lot of these pink areas. That is painted detail. It's been it's molded in the darker pink color, but it's painted entirely in that brighter pink. And I think I could do without that if it meant getting the look of the vehicle right. But because of exactly what this alt mode is and what the toy is, the robot's the priority. The vehicle mode is just kind of there. So for the vehicle itself, I do like the sculpted detail going on. At the very least, the two shades of pink do keep it looking a little bit broken up, and that's not necessarily a bad thing. Wish the headlights were painted a different color. The grille is not painted, but it is clearly sculpted in. And there is a little 3mm post on the top, the same kind you'd see on the back of a pelvis of a current form character for like a display stand. So if you've got, I don't know, if you got weapons with a 3mm port, you can put them on top. At least you have that. She doesn't come with a weapon herself. It's built in. So you're going to have to borrow somebody else's if you want to arm up your Elita-One. I will give credit, the rear section of the vehicle is also pretty solid. A lot of times lately, the rear section can be kind of hollow, or, you know, robot parts are crammed into it. No, did a decent enough job hiding it away. So yeah, so I guess that's really all there is to the vehicle. I mean, it's your, it's your standard like mushroom pegged in wheels that don't roll very well. So don't expect to get like any kind of distance if you push the car along. It's really just there to keep from scraping up the toy at this point. But let's get it into robot mode and we'll actually see exactly what we've got going on here. So there's a lot of pegs and tabs holding together these side panels. So I want to go in first and try and break some of those apart so we can get those side panels out. That starts with the arms on the underside. And with that, I should have just enough clearance to get them pegged out from the rear fender and folded up like so to get those out of the way. With that, I should be able to push the arms out like so and get them ready for the robot mode position. Legs can stretch out from there. Go ahead and align them like so, so all of these gaps vanish and the front side of the legs looks nice and solid. You can also rotate the fenders now. Get the wheels pointed a little bit farther back and clear them from the robot mode feet. From that, we can get the shoulders rotated up and get the chest ready by unfolding it from there. There's a big double hinge that holds the back side from the front. So go ahead and fold that up. Connect it right there at the neck. Use this double hinge to put the chest for Elita-One in the right position. And from there, just kind of straighten up arms and such, and that's going to give you your robot mode. So, like most Warrior class toys, pretty simple and clean. It's the way you're making it feel tonight. But that's how you get her into robot mode. Nothing terribly complicated. Nothing tough about it. So, like Warrior class toys are, they're meant for younger kids. They're kept to a very simple standard as far as engineering, look. They're basically supposed to be inexpensive, so a parent doesn't mind them getting trashed so much as like a $20-$25 deluxe, right? So for what it is, not too bad, right? So looking at her now, I mean, in this angle, from what you're seeing now, she looks absolutely fine. Looks like Elita-One from the cartoon. Maybe a little simple in detailing, but it's definitely her. In this mode, we have a lot more pink now with the upper arms and legs going into it. We also have this. We also have what looks like a drone hanging off of her back because of the way that they handle the wheels. That's just kind of comes with the territory. I wish those rotated down or folded down or something. But for now, it is what it is. Not a whole lot of extra paint has been revealed here. She's mostly relying on the front end of the vehicle mode in order to give her robot mode any kind of like paint detail. But she does have some on the head that we can go into. And yeah, the head does take from the traditional Elita-One traditional G1 Elita-One. It's going to be a long recording session. But yeah, it's definitely the Earthspark variation. It does look very, very nice here. Though I am noticing that tampograph is completely off-center on mine. Didn't notice that till I had to look real hard at it for this review. That's upsetting. So she looks just a little bit off here, unfortunately. But the rest of it, yeah, everything seems to come together fine. She's got some nice tech greeble sculpted into her upper arms and upper legs, give her a little bit of robotic look. I like the shape of the legs. You know, it is very modern Transformer, looking very, very nice. I mean, nothing too bad here. Nothing to really complain about as far as sculpting detail and proportions. It actually does come pretty close. And if we look and keep her like this, a lot of that vehicle mode bulk does go to the legs, but very little backpack when you consider it. You know, it's at least clean, and she at least wears it well. So, overall, shape, look, not too bad, right? Right, so far, we've got a fairly decent Elita-One here that does an okay job representing her cartoon iteration. You're waiting for the but, aren't you? At this point, I feel like I've led you in this direction that this toy is, completely competent, and for a Warrior class toy, one of the better examples. We've had really good Warrior class toys before, so, some really fun ones. But I'm leading you somewhere, right? And you can kind of sense that at this point. All right, so we need to talk articulation. So, because it's a warrior class toy, you don't expect much from the articulation level of this toy. Rightfully so. However, we need to talk about those shoulders. Those shoulders. So, you have a swivel here where the shoulder can get forward and back movement, but it gets a little bit awkward because you can see where the shoulder is ultimately ball jointed into. It's ball jointed into the top of her front fender. So this is the angle that she is sculpted with. I can't move her forearm. I can't move her arm on that ball joint forward at all. So the only option is to rotate this piece forward, and that lowers the profile of the shoulder down into her midsection, which completely destroys any kind of appearance she could take on. I mean, it's okay, I get it. On a toy like this, you're kind of limited in what you can do budget-wise. But it just feels so rushed, and it feels so sloppy. I've seen warrior toys that can handle universal joints just fine. I've seen ball joints being used well. I'm not entirely sure why this is the direction the toy had to go in, because it just looks so bad the second you start posing this. The only good range on that arm is the outward motion. Like, from here looks fine, but what are you going to do with that motion? What are you going to do with that position? Her neck doesn't rotate, by the way, so I can't actually, like, have her pointing in whatever direction this arm's going to go in. And if I raise the arm up, I do get a little bit forward, but that's it. That's as far forward as it can go. So that's where this toy kind of crashes and burns. The arm articulation is some of the worst I've seen in a long time. Now, again, it's a warrior class toy. I get it. But that's not really an excuse either, because the warrior class toys have in the past done really, really well with this level of engineering. So why it came out this bad, I have no idea. So your arm articulation is screwed. And because she has no neck articulation, no waist articulation either, by the way, you are very limited in the positions that she actually looks natural in. Remember, I can't rotate the neck or the head for her to actually be pointing her gun, which means, and I have to point it forward. So I either have to aim it like that, like she's shooting from the hip, like it's like a Western, or I have to deal with the weird shoulder. And ironically, regardless of whether I'm bending the elbow forward or bending the shoulder forward, her gun is at the exact same height. You see my issue with the toy. I'll go ahead and activate the gimmick here. Gimmick as it is, you can flip the gun out into a larger gun. Small gun, large gun. Small gun, large gun. She still has no way of posing to where this thing actually looks good. So just hold it there like she's at the ready and just like leave her like that. That's the pose that she's actually capable of. So like we said, super awkward in the shoulders. Elbows are ball jointed, so that's fine. Ball joints in the hips are actually nice and tight for a warrior class toy. And then, yeah, the knee is not here. The knee is in like the upper part of the shin from the transformation. It's not the worst, but man, it does get really bad when you start bending it too far. So unfortunately, that's Elita-One. And it's a shame because out of the warrior figures we've seen so far out of Earthspark, this is the one I was most excited for, because she doesn't have a deluxe like Megatron does. And like, I really like the character, and I love the fact they're doing more with female Transformers and actually coming out with toys of them. You know, there's Hasbro not scared of making a pink toy. It's just unfortunate that it came out so bad. And it really is disappointing. Like, even for the money, Warrior Class has done so much better than this in the past. And even if the budget is shrunk, I don't think it's an excuse for how bad the engineering on the figure is. So my advice to you, my friends, wait and see if a deluxe version of Elita-One gets announced, because she deserves better than this. Female Transformers in general deserve better than this. Hasbro's finally giving them a chance, but when they come up short in the engineering compared to the boys, you're going to do nothing for them, and it's going to hurt the perception of female characters and female toys in the long run. So you've really got to knock it out of the park when it comes to a female character. And in this case, yeah, they struck out. Guys, I am facing the most powerful enemy any YouTuber can face, the algorithm, and I need your help to defeat him. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell, and leave a comment. Every time you do, we attack that algorithm and we drive it back until it can no longer defeat this channel. Thank you very much.